All right, coming up on today's edition of the Art Business Morning Show, we're talking about discounting your art or photography, and should you? Okay, specifically, we're going to cover whether or not you discount your art, and we're going to put this one to bed once and for all. Huh?
All right.
Do you have your cheers glass or
water?
No? Oh, come on! You don't have your art storefronts glass. I'm already well and properly caffeinated. But welcome to another edition of the Art Business Mornings, the show that will put you on the path to a six-figure a year plus art business. So come get on the path. Let's get on the path. And one thing that we don't do on this show is play it safe. Little bit of a hot button one today here, Box. Little bit of a hot button one.
Absolutely.
Let me
has to be discussed.
I know. Let me start at the top with an acronym. An acronym. And this one is LMGTFY. Do you know what that one stands for, Nick?
No.
Let me just Google that for you, or let me go Google that for you. Okay. If you've not seen this, it's really hilarious. You know, when you get people asking you questions all the time.
Yeah, they ask like a dumb question that you could just Google.
Yeah, that you could just Google in 2 seconds. You owe it to that person. I owe it to my mother to teach her, to empower her, okay, on how to get the answer to this question on her own. And so you go to this website, and it's literally just all you have to do is let me Google that for you. Okay. It's literally lmgtfy.com. And you can type in whatever the search term is, like, hey, Patrick, how do I restart the computer? And you can go to the site and type in how to restart an Apple computer. And what the site does is it records you typing the thing into Google, and then it records the results, right? And you just send them that video with the takeaway being, let me just Google that for you. So as we were talking about the topic of discounting, okay, I had to do some Googling in my show prep, right? And I've said on this show many times, the only brand that I'm aware of, okay, that does not discount, that's never discounted, that you will never find at an outlet store is Louis Vuitton, okay? Louis Vuitton, LV. I found out about another one today in my quick Google search, which was Tiffany's. Never discounts, never has a sale period. And then apparently a third one, although it's sort of a little loosey-goosey, is Tesla. There's no negotiating. You just have a set price. Like they'll lower the price on a car. They'll lower the price on a car, but it's not in a sales function or a discounting function. It's because they're lowering the price on the car. And then that's it. There's no discounting. There's no deals. So if that's the case, on a quick Google search, those are the only 3 brands that come up. Let me just ask you, is your art, is your photography, is your brand that good? Is our software, our brand, what we're working on that good? That's a pretty crazy company to be in. Yeah. Okay.
It is, but you know what? Some people, hoity-toity, might say, yes, it is. You know, I'm the equivalent of that in the art world. They may say that, you know, and so that's, you know, or that's where they want to be, right? And that's where the folly is, right? And so this is a really big topic, guys, and we have to talk about it because we have very, very few, I would say like 1% of Art Storefronts members that come in. And then of course we get a lot of questions from non-members about this topic and some people who are kind of legitimately concerned with it, right? Let's talk about why, right? Like I have
one additional rant. I have one additional rant that I typed up that you're gonna have to let me run on. And
you want to do it? You want to do it?
Yeah, I want to do it now, and then I want to go.
But I want to say real quick before you say that though, because I want to set the stage. I want to give I want to give some credence and some understanding, some empathy to the people who fear discounting, right? Like they think that it could devalue their work. They think that, you know, their customers are going to get upset by it who bought from them in the past. You know, there's all sorts of things there that are valid thoughts, but we're going to address them in this session. Go.
We talk about the inputs. Okay. If you've listened to this show, if you've been on any of the art business workshops, which by the way, thrice weekly Zoom calls that you can join, 11 a.m. Pacific, link in all the descriptions everywhere. Come ask either Nick or I or our marketing team questions and get on the path. independent of that, inputs. This one, okay, for whatever reason, seems to be endemic to the art world, okay? I was talking to so-and-so who's either an art or a photography expert or an art publisher or an experienced art seller, and they told me I should never discount as it cheapens and devalues my work, okay? It comes to us all the time on the art business workshops, just talked about those, on the customer calls, Facebook comments, Instagram comments. People send me in the messenger. I get emails about it. And, you know, week in, week out, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. Okay. So I got to take a deep breath on this. It's going to get a little controversial, but let me just finish it. Okay. And then you can judge me later. I want to talk about then, and I want to talk about now. Okay. Then, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, earlier in my years at ASF, when I got this quip from somebody, I answered it differently. Okay. Why? Number one, I wanted to be gracious. Number two, I lacked the courage, quite frankly, of my own convictions to say what I really meant on this. Okay. I had not recorded and put in the can the requisite number of reps and sets talking to artist photographers, or looking at the data and closely studying those that are actually selling well into the six-figure range a year. Okay. That's changed since. So before I would have said, you don't want a discount, and you said this too, Nick. That's fine. But understand, to get us humans to take action, you need an incentive, okay? The sale or the discount is that incentive. It's powerful and it works. You add to it scarcity, i.e. the deal is ending, and you go next of the Art Business Mornings, where we address the nuts and bolts of an art sale. It's important to understand these things. It's critically important. So that's how I would have responded then, with something like, you don't have to discount if you don't want to. That's fine. Just make sure you have some sort of incentive, okay? Free shipping or a bonus gift perhaps. But, you know, you need the incentive to get humans to take action. That's just how we work. That's how we're wired. And technically, we were correct back then when we would sell that. A sale needs incentive. It doesn't have to be a discount if you don't want it. But without it, you're running uphill against the wind in the middle of winter. It's snowing on you. Let's talk about now, sadly, the controversial part, okay? My job, Nick's job, as we have alluded to many, many times, is ultimately to make our customers successful. That's it, full stop, okay? A big part of that is unclogging their drains, getting the nonsense out so the good stuff can flow through. This is a huge one, okay? Thinking you or your brand or your art is so damn sweet that you are at Louis Vuitton levels is just plain arrogant, in my opinion. Again, this is my opinion. But worse, it is a fatal form of naivete, okay? That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not a dictator here, though. You're certainly entitled to your opinion, right? But if your opinion is you don't discount, I can't help you. Not only can I not help you, I want you out of my ecosystem. I don't want your opinion taking root in my community. I find it to be a cancer, okay? It is a tumor. What do you do when you have cancer or a tumor? You bombard it with radiation. You get it out of there, right? Like, our job, if it's to create successful customers, we just can't be in a situation where that type of poison is creeping into people's minds, right? We want to put you on the path to having a healthy business and not understanding discounting and the role it plays in sales. I'm just done with it. I can't say how conclusively I can confidently feel in doing so.
Okay. So you've gone from start to finish there. All right. I'm gonna add some information in the middle here, right, that I think needs to be discussed. We got to back up a little bit. Number one is, a discount, you guys, is all it is a strategic incentive. That's what it is. Okay. Now, Pat just mentioned that, right? Like, it's a strategic incentive in business. There's a reason why companies have this, right? Why almost all of them. There's you could just go down the list. Okay. I won't go into all of the different things, right? But it's a strategic incentive because it gets people, to act, to get out of their chair, to pull their wallets out. And it's a trick. It's a game, you guys. It's a game, okay? So you're either getting played by the game or you are playing the game. Let me just tell you that, okay? The people who are smart, okay, think about like Lexus, December to remember, right? It's just on the top of my head. They run it every single December. Do you think you're really getting a deal? I hate to tell you, you're not. You're not getting any better of a deal than you get all year round. They just phrase it that way. And what do you think happens? Everybody comes in and they get the same deal that if you negotiated, you would have got all year round, right? Yep. But they get all these people to come and they create this whole frenzy and they have insane sales levels, right? And then you know what's happening behind the scenes? Because they're playing the game, they're all high-fiving each other going, I can't believe this worked. I can't believe it worked. All we had to do was call it this. We're running this big sale to, get your car before the end of the year. You're getting the same deal that you get all year round. Doesn't matter, right? And so the people who are smart in business understand that that's the game that you're playing, right? And so you price your item up. Okay, so let's talk about profit margins. If you're worried that you're not going to make as much money on your art, you should have already priced your art up so that you can discount it and be happy with the profit margin that you get after the discount. Okay, so you should never be worried about it from a financial perspective. Okay, now here's the next part, and this ties into why you
look at the comment though, right? This is exactly it, right? So Jason Morningstar on Facebook says, I feel like it's really rhetorical to say, do you discount your art more? Because artists have to undersell themselves their whole lives to make money. And this is just another side of the coin of the same problem, right? Like to what you were just saying about pricing, like you have to understand how to price yourself to be able to do this.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, and the next point that I'll make though, is that this is a really, really big one, probably the biggest. And this ties into why Patrick was just so like going crazy about having anybody in the ecosystem. Okay. And it's because that what we have learned in the last 20 years in the art industry is that if you want to look at anybody that's making, $100,000 or more from their art business, Pat, how many of them do not discount? How many of them do not discount?
Zero.
Okay. None. I do not know in my 20 years any artist or photographer that is selling a ton that is not discounting. Okay. Let me further say that I have never heard them utter the words that they are resistant to discount. They have never said this is going to devalue my work. And we're talking about people selling hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Okay. Some millions, the biggest in the world, they're discounting. And so this goes back to the inputs. If you think that you can build a great business by not discounting, I challenge you to go find 5 people, 5 artists or photographers that have done that. That's a huge problem right there, because I could supply you with over 1,000 that have. Over 1,000 like that have, okay? But I cannot give you anyone that actually has. And of course, there's got to be one out there, right? Like the one guy, right? Like, I mean, they're out there, right? Like it's like the unicorn, right? It's the unicorn story of the person who is like selling to like actors and actresses in New York and like, LA, right? Like we know that those exist. But for the regular, like for 99% of the industry or like or more, this rule is true. You cannot find a bunch of successful people. So I always question, like when somebody says to me, like, I don't want to do it because I've heard that I shouldn't do it because it'll devalue my work or blah, 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 blah. I say, who told you that? Who told you that and how much are they selling? I want to know right now. I want to know, who is it? Because every time that I do it, I cannot find one. I cannot find one, right? That's actually successful. Okay. So that's the most important piece of information from you. And so for you. And so where does this lead? Where does this lead? I want to tell anyone that is actually like, I'm still going to do it. I still believe that I shouldn't do any discounts and I should just have a fixed price for everything. And then maybe I'll just do free shipping or whatever as an incentive. Here's what I'm going to tell you. You are going to sell in the bottom 1% of the industry. It's going to go very slow. Your business growth is going to be the slowest. It's going to be like a snail. It's going to be molasses. Okay. I've seen it happen. All right. Why? Because every time the biggest art selling times happen, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, summer sale, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and the fourth quarter, like the biggest art selling time of the year is the fourth quarter. We've been talking about that a lot. Everybody else is going to be selling, right? And you're going to be sitting there with crickets because you have no reason for people to get up out of their chair and buy, right? There's no incentive there, okay? And I hate to tell you, free shipping is not an incentive anymore. I'm sorry. That ship sailed. Amazon ruined it. Amazon ruined it.
Expectation.
If you send out it's expected, and and there's no value number to it, right? So like, if I'm going to buy $1,000 piece from you, and you send out a 20% off, email or on social media, I'm like, whoa, I can get that thing for 800 right now. You know what I mean? Like $200. But if you tell me free shipping, I'm like, what did I save? $24? Like it doesn't mean, it's meaningless. It's not going to do anything to get more people to click and to people to take action, right? But that financial incentive is a huge one. So what happens is the biggest art selling times of the year happen, right? And then everybody that is playing the game is winning like crazy. We're reporting crazy numbers from all of these people, right? Like the summer sale just ended. People are selling like crazy. Black Friday, and the fourth quarter, whenever that ends, we're publishing data constantly about all of the success that's happening. And you're sitting on the sidelines while all this demand is getting sucked out of the market. All the wall space that you were hoping to compete for is gone. And there you are like, yep, I'm just so happy I didn't discount. And you're literally last in line. You are running a business where you will constantly be last in line because the people that are playing the game are just winning. They're just winning, and they're laughing because they're like, look at all the people, you won't discount your work. Like, I'm selling my originals for 20,000 with the expectation that I'm gonna get an offer for 15 and I'm gonna take it, right? And that happens all the time with our members, Pat. We've talked about this, like you've done it with them, right? Like we've coached our members to price their originals higher, to price everything higher, just because people, high net worth individuals, you guys, we negotiate everything. Okay, that's how you get to become a high net worth individual. Let me tell you who the high net worth individuals are who don't negotiate.
Retail. Not paying.
You know who doesn't negotiate as a high net worth individual? The people that are in the inheritance business. Okay, the ones who inherited money and never earned anything. They're the ones who are the suckers who go and pay, the retail price for every car, house, art, or anything else. Everybody else is going to negotiate and is going to get a deal. Okay. And if you know anything about negotiating, if you read negotiating books, you guys, or if you read like books on how to sell a lot, people want to win. The customer wants to win and feel like they won in the negotiation. And if you help them feel like they won, it's over. You like, they're going to buy it. And it's so funny the way that it works, but
you just centered on
part of the game.
You just centered on something that's just so not intuitive for most people, but I'll say it, and then I'll say how I learned it earlier in my career, because I think it's an interesting story. When you properly set this whole thing up, and I'm going to give you an example in just a second, not only do you sell better, but here's the thing that no one knows. The buyer is actually happier than they would.
Yes.
The buyer is happier, and that takes a little while to wrap your noodle around. So let me give you a story I learned earlier in my career. I had a very short stint as a property manager. And so I worked with this guy that just had one house. It's not always doing 50 of them. And I would have to rent it from time to time, right? And so we'd agree on what he would want to get for rent. I would promptly price the thing $1,000 a month over what it was, take really good photography, get them into the house. And when they got them into the house, I did this 6 or 7 times over the years. They'd come in, they'd look at it all. They'd be like, I really like this place. This place is awesome. But I'd like to negotiate a few things in. And I'd go, okay, well, what do you want to negotiate in? And remember, I have $1,000 pad, right? I have $1,000 pad. And they'd say, I want to have this done. I want to have that done. Or I need a couple of dollars off. And I would say, okay, let's say I had the thing priced at $4,500 and really I wanted $3,500. I'll tell you what, I'll redo that bathroom area. Okay. And I'll also drop the price to $3,500, or maybe I would even go higher, $37. But if I do that, you got to sign the lease today, and you got to be willing to move in 30 days, or whatever conditions I wanted. And that got the deal done every single solitary time.
That's a classic closing tactic.
They were happier. They were happier. Yeah. They were so much happier that they got it. They're like, yes, I got this incredible deal. And if you didn't price yourself appropriately to start out with, you're done. You've lost the game. You've lost before the game even started. You've already lost.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. Like, if I buy a piece of art, if you have a piece of art priced at $10,000 and I negotiate with you and I get it for $8,000, I don't believe, the reason I'm so happy is because I just bought a $10,000 asset that I got for $8,000. I just made 20% on it. That's the way that I'm thinking about it, right? I'm not sitting here going, oh, that art got devalued because I just negotiated or I got a discount. Okay. I'm like, dude, I just won because I just got the asset, for cheaper than the market value is. And the market value is set by the artist. It's like if you're going to buy a house and you get a 20%, you're able to negotiate at 20% down, but in your mind, you kind of think that the market value might be like the way that they priced it because it was in line with the comps. You know what I mean? So like whenever a buyer is buying it, like that's how they think. That's how high net worth individuals think. Okay. And so, the other thing too is that a lot of people, like I hear this a lot, but people are like, well, my customers like who hear about it are going to be like so upset, because like they bought something before and they might see these discounts and all this stuff. And there's such an important point here. Okay. Nobody cares about what you're doing. I'm just going to tell you that. You think, and I'm saying that nobody cares about what Art Storefronts is doing. Nobody cares. When you're a small business, you want to think that everyone is hanging off your word, every post, every email that you send out. Nobody cares. Okay. You don't care about the brand. Think about it. I'm everybody that's listening right now, take your top 5 brands that you think you care about the most. You have no idea how they're discounting or what's going on with them. And you don't care, right? Right? You don't care that they just had a discount last week, and you didn't even know about it. And you don't care if you did know about it. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Like,
nope.
It doesn't, you think that people care and they're hanging off on every word. Okay. I just want to tell everybody, first of all, they're not. Nobody cares. Like, check your ego at the door. All right. You're totally wrong on that. Like, flip it around. You think that 95% of people care about what you do. There's probably 1% of people that care about what you do. It's like the most vocal person, right? And it's probably your mom or dad or your spouse or your best friend. That's it. Nobody else cares. It's really like liberating to understand that, and you learn that with experience in business. But like, you guys, every time you send out an email, when you send out an email, remember, you only get 20% of the people to open it, maybe 30 on a great one, right? And it's different people every single time. So maybe 1 out of every 5 people are seeing, like a person sees an email, they're probably seeing 1 out of your 5 emails. They might see 1 out of every, 3 subject lines. It could be less. It could be less. When you do social media posts, okay? When you're posting about your sale, if you are not buying ads for that post, for that specific post to your warm audience, which is a whole different topic, realize that Facebook and Instagram are pay-to-play platforms, okay? So less than 3% of your audience is even gonna see any given post that you make. You have to pay to make anybody else see it, to make a higher percentage see it, okay? So hardly anyone is even seeing your messages, and they're busy as heck anyway, right? And so you think that you're not like, that you don't wanna play the game for all these people that don't even care. They're not even paying attention to you because they don't care.
They don't know you discounted. They have no idea.
Don't know.
They did not.
And they don't care anyway.
People are busy. Yeah.
When is the last time somebody who bought a piece of art got mad at an artist for discounting? Honestly, I have literally in 20 years never heard that story happen. I haven't heard it. I've never heard it. Right. So our advice, right? So at the end of this, like, the most important point here is when you look at all of the data, all of this information, and you just look at like the stack of pros and cons, our stack of pros is up here. The stack of cons, like the other side, like the pros and cons on the other side is so low. The pros are so low. And like, who's gonna, like, nobody that's successful, that has like major successful art businesses,
I said, I'm done with it.
is not discounting, right? Yeah. And like nobody's doing that. It doesn't devalue your work, right? All the people that are selling 100K or more are all doing it. Do you want to build your business as fast as you can? You know what I mean? Or do you want to be like a snail, slow pace? Hey, it's your call. You can do it. You can play that game. But when everybody else is selling a lot and you're hearing about it and they're reporting their sales, like, you better be ready to be unhappy. You better be ready to be like, you know what? Like, I'm not happy with my sales. My sales are terrible, but you know what? I don't want a discount. So that's why I just want you to know when your sales are terrible and you're not playing this game, you're getting played by the game and you are on the slow molasses, snail's path. And you better be ready to accept that because that's how it's going to be and it's never going to change. And that's it.
You're way more diplomatic about it than I am. I'm just done with it because I think it's so counterintuitive. And
I know.
Again,
it's infuriating when you see people. It's infuriating when you see people who want to go down that path because all of this information, the facts, and that they're going on the slow path. But in their mind, they're going, no, I think this is the fast path. And you're like, based on what? What information? Pull it out. I want to see it. Right? Go show me 5 people who have done this. Okay, that are people
who actually sold art or photography, who have actually sold something.
Yeah. Right. And don't name like Banksy or somebody who's like world famous, who is like 1 out of 5 people. There's 5 of those in the world. Right? Show me the people that are making $100,000 to to $500,000 because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Out of all of those people, right? Like out of all of those people, how many have done it? I don't know any.
Yeah. And, one of the things that I love about this job is, what we call dog fooding, right? And, I used his background. Instagram, you won't be able to see this, but the rest of you guys will. I used this image as a background because this taught me the lesson, like full stop, like to my face, like I couldn't believe it. And so just to quickly tell the story, the artist behind me is Matthew Locke. He's a longtime customer at Art Storefronts. He's become a really good friend. We've run a number of marketing initiatives with him. And so he and I have a great relationship and trust. So pre-COVID, he had this big show. Okay. He's a very well and established artist. So he sold, I think, over 100,000 Canadian at this particular show, right? Pre-COVID. And I got to be involved in everything. Okay. I got to be involved in the pre-marketing, in the discussions on pricing, in the stats, the analytics on what sold to who and what venue and everything else. And the piece behind me was the main piece of the show. Okay. And we had this discussion early on because he priced the works based on the sizes that they are. Okay. But this was like the banner of the show back here, right? This was on all the marketing material and everything else. I was like, you guys, we cannot price this thing. And I think it was priced at like $18,000. I was like, you guys, we cannot price this thing at $18,000. It's the banner of the show. It's the headline image. We've got to bump it up. And so we sort of got into this argument, and it was myself, Matthew, and the gallery owner all on the phone talking about this. And I was like, guys, full stop. There is no way we are pricing this at $18,000. I need the price on this to be $26,000. We have to have at least a significant bump on this one because it's the headline of the show. Show goes down. Okay. Piece doesn't sell, right? Piece doesn't sell. He had the whole pomp, circumstance, performance art, the bartender, the music. It was a big show. He sold a lot of art. 3 days after the show comes over, one of the gallery owners' collectors comes in. He comes in, he sits down with the gal, and he goes, I need to have this piece. I need to have this it's Rodin and Camille Claudel. I need to have this piece. There's a problem though. I ain't paying retail. I'll tell you what I'll give you. I'll give you 19 grand right now and we got a deal. So it sold for $19,000. Okay. $1,000 over what I originally priced it. And out he went. So there's your high net worth individual. Is he worried about timing? No, he's not. He let that thing cook. That the main banner image didn't sell, comes back 4 days later. And what does he do? He does not pay retail. The discounting only gets more significant the higher up the chain you go, right? What we're talking about now is like a 5 or 10 grand off. When you start getting even higher into the 6 figures, it's like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 150, $500,000 off. It only goes higher as you get up and more established. Like it is across the board in the stack. That piece would have sold for 12 grand, 13 grand, 14 grand if he didn't bump it up. And instead he got $1,000 extra. And I got to see it firsthand. So it's like when I'm making the statement on my end where I'm just done with it, I don't even want to entertain it or hear it. If that's the way that you want to do it, you're entitled to your opinion. Cool. I'll see you later. Get out. Get out. I don't want it going into other people's heads. It's the wrong thing. It's not going to put you on the path to success. It's just not going to do it.
Well, the thing I love about that story, the thing I love about it is that think about it. who played the game and who got played, right? Matthew Locke, Matthew Locke and the strategy that you helped him with on that, right? You played the game. You guys were smart, savvy, businessmen, business people, and that's what happened there, right? And so, like, what was the outcome? The outcome was Matthew got $1,000 more than he was originally going to ask, right? He got the amount that he wanted at the end of the day, right? Okay. And then he managed to make a very happy customer because that person won, right? That person feels like they won because they negotiated, and they're laughing. He's bragging to his wife about the purchase that he just made. Oh, you wouldn't even believe the deal I just got. This thing was 26 grand and I just got it for 19. Feels amazing, right? And so Matthew just created this totally happy customer, right? And everyone won. Everyone won. You guys, that's good business. Understand that is really, really good business. And that's what happened, okay? So Matthew Locke played the game and played it well, created a happy customer, and everyone won, okay? Little does that customer know, they actually got played a little bit, right? But the artist did not get played. It's a perfect situation. These people, the customer is going to come in to negotiate. So you're actually ready for it and you don't care. You're ready to go. And that's what I love about it.
It goes even a layer deeper, right? And this is just sort of intuitive and reading case studies and everything. And I can't say conclusively in this situation, but the person that bought that piece behind me is a high net worth individual. That's a lot to spend on piece of artwork. Do you think they even gave a damn about the extra 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000? Means nothing to them. Means absolutely nothing.
It was more sport.
Means it was more sport. That's it. And when you understand that, when you can sort of like decouple yourself from this particular scenario, and you realize that, and you refocus yourself through that lens, you end up winning. And let me just tell you, I go back to what I said originally, and I think I've counted this week, by the way. So far this week, I think I've had 176 questions that I've answered for artists and photographers between our weekly shows and the networks. It might be 250. I have seen, do that for enough weeks. This is like death, public speaking, and pricing your artwork. Pricing your artwork for an artist is in the 3 most stressful things that they will ever do in their entire lives. Okay. I have heard this is a fear the likes of which I have never seen. It is paralyzing. I mean, paralysis. Okay. Paralysis. So you just need to be able to zoom back. You're worth it. It's not even about what you're worth, though. It's just a game. It's just a game within the game. That's it. It's just psychology. The numbers are immaterial. They don't even mean anything. It's just the game within the game. You go up high, you drop down low. That's it.
That's right. Be smart, because and you can create happy customers who are winning, right? So I got another question that's about, like, artists who obviously in non-COVID times are doing art shows, and they don't discount when they do like an art fair, like a festival or something like that. They just have their price right there. Okay. So here's the thing. And so they're worried, that if they're offering discounts like online through their website on their email list and stuff, then somebody will come to the show, and be upset that the pricing is not the same, or maybe they bought something in person and in the past and saw that they're discounted online. It's the same thing, guys. It doesn't matter, right? There's 2 ways you can go about that. Like when you do another art show, you can price your stuff up 20% and then just have it on sale at the art show. Like that's a smart strategy anyway. Okay. Yep. Like, make people feel that there's urgency there. Let every other booth not have a sale and you have the sale, because all it is allowing, hey, anybody that walks into my booth today is going to win. It's going to win. While like 90% of the booths, that's not happening. That's a smart strategy, right? But the other thing is that if somebody comes to your art show and says, hey, I saw it was discounted online, but it's not discounted here, and that person wants to just buy from you online, on a regular basis, you just won. You just won. Like, do you realize that? Like, the whole point is to not have to be doing art shows anymore, right? And to be building your online business. It's the same reason why, like if you buy an airplane ticket and you try to call in and buy it, they charge you for it, But if you buy it online, it's cheaper. The transaction is simpler, it's easier, and you're setting up the right habits. The right habit of a person who buys from you in person, okay, is to get them to continually go to your online art gallery from then on, which is open 24/7, and to be on your email list and following you on social media so that your continual marketing is going to get in front of them, okay? There's no guarantee they're gonna ever go to those art shows again. I don't go to the same art shows every year, not even close, not even close. And so the only way you're gonna win long-term and turn that person into a collector is to have an ongoing relationship with them. And the ongoing relationship must be with your art gallery. Your art gallery is your art gallery website. It just happens to be online, right? So it's no different than a retail art gallery. So that's where everybody needs to go anyway, okay? So that's the way you want to think about it.
Feels like we put it to bed. I feel very good about it. I do have a little bit of
This is so helpful. It's so helpful, right? Like for so many people that have been, I think what gets us so fired up about it too is all the nonsense and BS that has been told to people by unsuccessful people. It's unclogging the drain. It's like these ideas spread like a virus in the art industry. It's like all of a sudden it's like a lot of people who have never sold anything are like, I shouldn't be discounting. I've heard I shouldn't be discounting. I've heard I shouldn't be discounting. And it's like, where is this coming from? And you and I are just literally just crushing the problem, right? With truth and facts and data, and with an open mind, waiting for contrary data to come back that shows us that it actually beats the model that we know that works.
Yeah. And we're getting, it's, I'm not saying we're not good at what we do, right? Like we're good at what we do. Okay. I can say that without any ego. We're pretty good at what we do. We've had long careers already. So you get to a point in life where you actually have some age and some experience and some wisdom, and you've lived through enough things that you can speak intelligently about things. But ultimately, this show has been blowing up, and the downloads and the feedback and the comments we've been getting are so crazy. We've never experienced anything like this in the history of the company. And as much as I'd love to, pump up my ego and your ego, that's not what it is. It's not our age, our experience, or we're good at what we do. It's the conversations that we're having with you guys. There are so many of them. Like when you are talking face to face on video, I mean, what a blessing out of this whole COVID thing. Instead of thinking we would know what your problems are, we're hearing them again and again and again and again, week in, week out, every stripe, every flavor, every different media type imaginable. And like to your point about the passion, when you see it that many times in a row, all of these people that are in their own way, okay, the reason they are not successful is the mirror. Look at it. It's you. You are the one that is preventing you from doing that. And we're not blaming you, okay? I'm looking at who is in your ear telling you this nonsense.
Yes.
And that is why we get pissed off, okay? And that is why we get pumped up. Where is this nonsense coming from? And how can I go and slap that person? I would never hit anybody. Slap that person and say, what? Stop it. Why are you doing this? Why are you holding these people back? Like, get out of the way. Anyway.
The way that I see, like, and we have to clean up a lot of this, even with Art Storefront's members. Like, I see a post in our private members group, or somebody says something, right? Or somebody puts a comment, who's not a member on one of our Facebook posts, right? Or Instagram posts.
Yeah.
And like what happens is, all of these people, all of a sudden it's like a shiny object. Like, oh, I got to listen to that person. Like there's like immediate trust there. Like they should actually listen to that person. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, stop it. Like the first question out of your mouth should be is, who are you and what have you done? Before I even give credence to a single thing you say, I want to know who you are and what you have accomplished in your life and in business as an artist or a photographer or as a consultant or somebody who's worked with these people. Tell me now, because otherwise I am literally like shutting this out. I don't want the poison. I don't want it to infect me, get it out. Like that's the way you gotta be savage about your inputs, you guys. Like this goes for everything in your personal life too. Negative people, right? With bad information or bad advice or bringing you down. You got to be savagely controlling your inputs. It's an art form. It's something that you got to watch out for every day, you know, because there are bloggers, podcasters, you know, other artists and photographers, other people dropping posts or comments. Like your immediate first thing should be, I'm not listening to you. That's what it should be. It's no different than like listening to the news today, right? Everybody's first thought should be, I'm not believing that, right? No matter what source that you're getting it from. And go and really get your own facts, okay? It applies to everything. There's too much information. It's too easy to publish things. It's too easy to go create a personal brand and say that you're like a consultant for artists or photographers or, you know, whatever, when you've never even ran a business. You've never even like sold $1 million of your own products or anything like that. Like, who are you, right? And so you've got to watch out for that. And that's where we see the biggest problems, that where people are getting this information. It's spreading like a virus, you know, from people who do not have the credibility or the data or information. And so it's just all BS. It's all BS that's spreading around. That's all it is. And it's been spreading around for decades, if not hundreds of years. It's unbelievable.
It's even worse than that because, like, you know, we constantly get like, you guys are so fired up and passionate. Well, go ahead and run Facebook ads for 5 years, okay, and Instagram ads, in which you have to clean up the comments, okay. And look, everyone understands that there are trolls online, right? And that's just a part of the internet world that we live in. And everyone, if they don't understand, the level of trolls is directly proportional to the platform that they're on, such that it's not their real first name and last name. So there are trolls on Facebook. It's usually their real first name and last name. Instagram, 10x that size, because it can be myart227513. You don't know who the hell that person is. They're not accountable to anyone. They can leave these trolly comments. I don't care about the trolly comments. All troll comments is a window into somebody's soul that is not having a good time, not having a good life, and is down in the depths, and you feel bad for it. I don't care about that part. What I care about is all it takes is one troll to leave one of these comments that has the wrong input, and it ends up becoming a magnet for everybody, everybody in that post. And we've seen this time and time again. Like, somebody will say, I will never discount my work. It cheapens my work. And then it'll get like 15 different replies because it confirmed the same bias that this particular person has. And that's another reason why we get so fired up about it. It's like, no, this is terrible, terrible information. Anyway, I got one more tangent, and this is just a perspective piece, okay? I saw this headline, okay? I'm browsing Reddit this morning, right? And this thing just jumped off the page at me. And I had to mention it. It's too good. It's a little off topic, but it'll tie in. We talk on this show about perspective, okay? Both on how long it takes to build a viable art photography business, but also why we believe the opportunity is so incredible, right? And two of the sub themes that emerge from that statement are the fact that you are an artist or a photographer. It's never going to change, okay? It's not like you're going to have the midlife crisis and leave a good sales job to go become a chef or something. No one ever changes. Once an artist, always an artist. Once a photographer, always an artist. Number two, okay, that's number one. Number two, the fact that you can be selling your work into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, right? You gain that perspective, okay, you agree with it, and then you use that as a lens to which you view your career and what you can achieve. Oh, are you in a good place? Are you in a good place to understand what's possible? So what's the headline? Okay, you ready for this? Awesome. TIL, which on Reddit means Today I Learned, another acronym. When Picasso died at the age of 91, he left more than 45,000 works, okay? In 1980, the Picasso estate was appraised at $250 million. He should have run a basement sale, by the way, could have cleaned out some of that inventory. Experts have said the true value was actually in the billions. He did not leave a will, so the division of his holdings took 6 years among his 7 heirs. And so I read that, and it's like 45,000 pieces of art that he had when he died that he didn't even sell. Like, just contemplate that. That's insane, right? Like how much work you can create. Now, in the 250 million, amazing, working into his 90s or whenever he actually quit, maybe it was his 80s, but still a viable business at the end of the 90s. And yes, I realize this Picasso, it's one of the greatest ever. But do you know what is missing from the headline, Nick?
What's that?
I don't. Let me just scan it again. I don't see at the bottom of it And he never discounted any of his works his entire life. I don't see it. I can't believe it. Surprising that. So anyway, thought I would read that. I thought it was interesting.
I like it. All right, let's leave it there.
Get out of here.
You guys, anybody who is not an Art Storefronts member and you're starting your art business, or you've been doing it for a while, or your photography business and you're struggling, or you're trying to figure out how to get to the next level, all right, come to our free art business consulting workshop tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow, Friday, all right? It is at 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 Central, 2 Eastern. Get on our email list and we will send you the Zoom link, okay? Go to artstorefronts.com and get on our email list. And then we will send you the Zoom link and you can come and you can talk to us, you know, face to face, and we will answer your questions live, okay? And try to bring your number one problem. What's the number one problem holding you back? Okay, that's what we love to go, so we can unclog your drains, so to speak. All right, we want you to move your businesses forward. So come to that, and you can get some free consulting. Tell a friend. All right. Also, you know, if you like this session, like these Art Business Mornings, we're doing them every Tuesday and Thursday, same time. You know, it's 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 Central.
Morning-ish.
Morning-ish, yeah, roughly around that time. And then we're also doing them like, you know, oddball, maybe like we did one last night. You know, we might do one on a Saturday here and there, on a Friday.
That's not technically Art Business Mornings. The Art Business Mornings, Tuesdays, Thursdays. The mechanics are, one, if you missed it, it's going into the podcast feed. Okay. You can search anywhere you find podcasts, the Art Marketing Podcast. And by the way, just to take a step back, customers, what are we doing right now? Moving the attention around. What do good marketers do all the time, Nick? Move the attention around. So anyway, you can get it on the podcast. YouTube, they're all in a playlist. You can binge all of them. Literally, you can go in, start the Art Business Mornings playlist, and just go through all of them. You're in your studio working, you want some motivation in the background, easy to do. Subscribe to YouTube when you're on there. They're organized in series on both IGTV. All you have to do is hit the profile. You can go through all of them. IGTV is a great way to binge watch, by the way. You go into it, you hit the series, it plays all of them. There's no commercials, there's no fluff. Real nice. Same thing on Facebook, all organized into a series. So you can get them any which way you like. We are in a massive, coordinated, laser-focused march to get you guys ready for Q4. We think it's going to be the biggest Q4 in the history of mankind, the history of selling art and photography online, period, full stop. And we want you to win. Come get on the path.
Yep, exactly. And on that note, with the biggest art selling time of the year right around the corner, the marketing begins. The marketing you're supposed to be doing if you want to sell a lot and execute well begins at the beginning of October. Okay. So in lieu of that, we have extended our summer sale at Art Storefronts. Okay, for those of you who want to join Art Storefronts at a significant discount, your next step is to request a demo. If you're looking to learn more about what we do, you know, get the details and the pricing and all that stuff, you just want to request a demo. That's the next step for everybody. Okay, just be sure to ask about the summer sale so you can take advantage of it potentially. And to request a demo, there should be a description in this post, in this live post on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. On Instagram, there's a link in the bio. You can always go to the website. There's always a request a demo button in the upper right-hand corner. Fill that out. One of the people from our outreach team will reach out to you shortly and take a look at your art, talk to you, learn what your goals are, and then show you everything that you want to see about Art Storefronts. Other than that, though, are we good to go?
Good to go. As always, thanks for listening.
I think we covered it. All right.
Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.